India's 78th Independence Day has come in the backdrop of a feeling of immense pain. When will the women of India get freedom in the truest sense? When will our country be safe for women? In Kolkata, the alleged rape and murder of a 31-year-old junior doctor has taken us back to 2012 during the Nirbhaya incident. But just like Nirbhaya had a name Jyoti, this victim too has a name, and she deserves to be remembered and be given justice for that. She's not just a statistic. She was somebody's daughter, she was somebody's friend, she was somebody's sister, and more than that, she dreamt of being a doctor who continued to serve people. Instead, she lost her life in the most brutal of ways. Let me just recap for you what happened. She worked in Kolkata at the RG Kar Medical College and Hospital, and after a 36-hour-long shift, or during a 36-hour-long shift, decided to take a break and just rest a little bit. So she went to the seminar hall to rest. In the morning, a semi-naked body was found. She was dead, and she had brutal marks all over her body. There were deep wounds even to her private parts. Let me just tell you what the post-mortem report has said. It says that the death was due to smothering and suffocation and throttling. It says that the mouth and throat were constantly pressed to prevent screaming, that the throat was strangled to suffocate. Her thyroid cartilage was broken due to this. There were blood stains. Blood was coming out of her eyes. There were blood stains on her face, on her nose, on her eyes, and on various parts of her body. And there was bleeding from her private parts. There were injuries to her lips, her abdomen, her right hand, her fingers, and her collarbone had been broken. It's very hard to go on. But this is what happened, and this is the reality. There is also, in the autopsy report, says that the amount of semen that has been found in her body does not belong to just one person. There is more than just rumors that this was not a rape, it was a gang rape, that multiple people were involved in the death and the killing. Let me just quote a doctor, Dr. Subarna Goswami. He's a former student of the same college and hospital who reviewed the autopsy report, and he has told a news agency that the report is proof of the brutality she had to encounter, the presence of more than one person, and that she was sexually assaulted more than once. This is bestiality at its worst. Let me also just bring in here that when the news was broken to her parents, to the victim's parents, they were told that it is suicide, that this was not a rape, this was not a murder, this was suicide. A Kolkata police civic volunteer, Sanjay Roy, has been arrested as the prime accused. Traces of blood and skin were found under the victim's fingernails, and these matched his DNA. She had obviously been resisting her perpetrator. A police officer says that despite being almost fast asleep, she resisted against the attacker, and that this struggle has provided the investigators with key evidence. But will this evidence be used correctly? Will there be patronage? Will there be attempts to hide the real culprit or the real other culprits that were involved in this tragedy, in this heinous crime? Tragedy is too mild a word. The case has now been handed over to the CBI. But we all know that our judicial system does not punish as swiftly in these cases as it should. It does not set an example so that it becomes a deterrent to those who think that they can get away by killing women, by raping women. Do our laws need a rethink? Or will swift justice just be enough to set that benchmark? Because lots needs to be done in our country. And there is, of course, that message. As the news broke of the crime, of the death of that young junior doctor in Kolkata, we also got other news that the self-styled rape convicted godman Asaram had been given bail so that he could go out for some Ayurvedic treatment. We also got news that once again of Dera Sacha Sauda chief Gurmeet Ram Rahim had been given 21 days out. He's been out more than he's been in. And we don't forget Bilkis Bano and her rapists. They were garlanded, laddus were given when they were given bail. What then is the message that we send to the women and the men of this country? Just yesterday, I read news about a rape convict who was released after 7 years of supposed good behavior. As soon as he was out, he raped another minor girl. Time and again, the victims of the country are let down also by the women of this country. From Mamta Banerjee and Mahua, who is extremely outspoken in Kolkata, who have not taken hold of this story the way they should have not given confidence to other women in the state and outside the state, to Smriti Irani, who kept quiet through Hathras, through Katwa, through Manipur, to even people in positions of power like P.T. Usha, who have put the blame on Vinesh Fogart, or the silence over the wrestlers. The night has been long, and the women have been let down by the women who are in positions of power to speak up. Many of us thought that Nirbhaya would actually be a turning point. But sadly, the candles burnt out and the outrage finished. Will this be any different? What can we do to make sure that these incidents are not repeated, that our girls are safe in our country? As India's daughters continue to wonder what it will take for them to be safe, let me tell you that a nation is safe, a nation is great only when its daughters have the freedom to be safe and freedom from the hanging sword of rape, violence against them, of violation. When perpetrators are punished swiftly and are not given political patronage. When convicted rape victims do not get bail as easily as if they're just going out for the evening. And when there is no darkness, either at night or in the day. India's daughters still await their tryst with destiny. I look forward to your feedback and your comments. And please do share any suggestions that you have on how we can make a change. Thank you for joining me.